Hello, everyone. I am Christina Taylor, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I am here. Here's my hands. Um, I just thought I'd start with the table surface and we'll just talk about what we're doing today. But anyway, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from North Canton, Ohio, coming to you with a video for some projects featuring this month's in color cloud cover. And then we're going to talk about a few things regarding cloud cover. So I just thought I would share all the products with you and let you get a peek at what we're doing. These two projects here using these two stamp sets. And then this is the selection of products that you will have in your bundle this month. Now, you'll only have the blends if you had the option to get blends. They were like $13 more, I believe. So if you elected to get those will also be in your kit. Otherwise, you'll get the items right here. So you're going to notice that you have a small Stampin' Spot instead of a full-size ink pad with your re-inker, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we'll just review in your in-color packet. You're going to have 12 sheets of the cloud cover cardstock. You're going to have 8 sheets of the designer series paper, which you'll have four of two designs, and then there'll be a design on the front and the back. So you essentially have four different designs, but the front and back of four. That makes sense. Which this is the fourth month of the club, so you already know that. So again, if you did the blends option, you'll have those. You have 4 sheets of the 12 by 12 two-toned cardstock in the cloud cover. You have the cloud cover marker. You have 2 yards of the cloud cover ribbon. You have your cloud cover gems that are in the flat pearls in the in color packet. And then you're going to have your re-inker of cloud cover and a Stampin' Spot. So I'm going to talk with you a little bit about that. So let me just clear all this off. Okay, so we will talk about this. I'm going to show you with mine. Let's do that before we start. Let me find my cloud cover ink refill. Okay, here's my cloud cover ink refill. So the cloud cover pad, the ink itself had some type of a chemical reaction with our, let me grab the secrecy pad because we're going to use that too. The cloud cover ink had a reaction with the material that our ink pads are made out of, the firm foam. And when I say reaction, over time, Stampin' Up! Tests the color over time so that, and it kind of like they have I don't know, a process that kind of like ages the ink so that they can see how it looks like, say, you stamped it on day one, but like what does it look like 6 months down the road? What does it look like a year down the road? Like they are monitoring like that aging process of the ink. And they were finding that the cloud cover with this pad, what am I going to say? The combination of the two was causing this ink to change colors, and it was becoming like more like a gray color. There were some select pads available, but they were available only to demonstrators. They were not available to customers. Um, so if you by chance have one, that's like a whole other different issue because really only demonstrators should have that. A demonstrator should not have been selling it to you because there's a good chance that even the color could be fine, but it also could be not not cloud cover. It could look gray or dreary in a different color or something like that. So anyway, the happy fix to still being able to offer the cloud cover because it's a beautiful blue color is that to make your own Stampin' Spot. So in your packet, you have a blank Stampin' Spot and you have your re-ink. So my Stampin' Spot was blank, just like this white one before I inked it. Let me get the the top of it off. So what you're going to do is you can see the pad is inked all the way through. What you will do, and I've actually inked this so I don't need to like ink it more. And I don't want to do somebody else's. I want to give you the ability to do that yourself. But you're just going to take your re-inker and you're going to squeeze ink out onto that pad, and you'll be able to see it kind of go down in that foam pad layer so you know that it is nicely saturated, if you will. So you're going to get a nice showing of the cloud cover ink. Now, what I do when I am inking just my regular pads, I use this is my inking spoon. As you can see, it's like really well loved with a bunch of different colors on it, and I wipe it off. It's just stained. So after I put some ink on the regular pad or the Stampin' Spot, if I'm doing it in any color, I want to take that spoon base and I just kind of massage that ink down in. So that when, like, if you've recently done it and you go to stamp something, you could get like some really robust inky image, and it's not going to give you that clear and detailed image because it's like really saturated at the top, if that makes sense. So I want to encourage you once you ink it to kind of work it down in that Stampin' Spot a little bit, and you might, stamp with it a little bit. You're going to see what I'm talking about with that fresh ink just right on the surface. So give it time to kind of settle. So what we're going to be using today is our Stampin' Spot. And again, you'll have the supplies necessary for you to make one as well. And you'll see that they work just like our full-size pads, only you just flip them over and you're inking with it as opposed to setting the stamp on the ink pad. So we'll do that. We'll just go ahead and get busy working with that. So I am bringing in Secret C for our projects today because that was our color last month. So everybody has this ink color. You also have the cardstock supplies in this ink color to be able to cut the pieces that you need to cut for the rest of your projects, or the rest of the two projects that we're going to do here. So these are the two projects we're doing. And we are using the Artistic Leaves stamp set, which we used in this last month's class. It's an online exclusive, really beautiful stamp set to create an image, a two-step stamping set, and you can create one image with it. And then we're also using Prairie Grass. This too is an online exclusive, and it has some great imagery at the bottom, and then some really nice sentiments as well, which I'll put a little closer so you can get a peek at it, and kind of you can do a screenshot so you can look at those sentiments a little bit more if you want to. And this one has some nice sentiments too. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'll start with this first one here with the Designer Series paper. So let me grab that. Okay, so for this one, we're going to use the Prairie Grass stamp set, and then I'm bringing in the Textured Notes dies. We're actually using this die set on both of the projects. This is a great die set. It goes with the Textured Notes stamp set. Let me put these kind of like that so you can see how they all kind of go in a nested series, and they all have different textures on them when they die cut. So we're using these 3 out of the set. Set those aside. The Prairie Grass is a cling stamp set, so you've got your red rubber. And as you know, if you were at class or you're watching my videos, Stampin' Up! Is getting rid of the red rubber. They're having trouble sourcing it to get it to manufacture their stamps, and all of our stamps are manufactured in the United States. So we are moving to photopolymer stamps exclusively. That will be kind of in effect by the annual catalog next year with all those, the stamps being offered there. So our supplies that we've got our basic white envelope. You will need to cut a piece of Secret C from your stash from last month, and you're going to cut it 5.5 wide by 8.5 long. Okay. And then this is a piece from my stock, but a piece of your bundle has been cut and die cut for you, so that way you have this piece to be able to do your card layout. So you'll have like a 2-inch piece and then a 3/4 inch strip in your packet, it's because that one piece was used for your packet front. So you're going to grab a piece of your DSP, so that's just one 6x6 piece, and I'm going to cut that down for you. I'll do that here in just a minute. And then you've got a piece of basic white in your kit that's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so in your kit, you're going to have your DSP, you're going to have your envelope, and you're going to have the white one. You are going to need to cut your Secret C card base. And so this is put together. I've got some dimensionals around the top here. So this is giving it like a little lift. It creates some dimension on this project. All right, so I'm going to show you how I created this. So we're going to start by folding our Secret C card base in half. And flatten that with a bone folder. And then I'm going to bring in my cutter. And we're going to cut this piece of designer series paper. So I want it to be 4 by 5 1/4. So what I'm going to do is first cut the 4-inch piece. So I've got this piece left over. And then I'm going to cut the 5 1/4. Okay, so you're going to have these two pieces in your packet of supplies, like in your in color bundle. We're not going to use them on today's project, but you could definitely incorporate them somehow if you would like. So I'm going to start on this one by stamping my cardstock. I want to stamp before I do any die cutting. And I've chosen to use Secret C on this piece of designer series paper. And I know that can be a little nerve-wracking because you're like, oh, I'm stamping on my designer series paper. And I would typically I would use the Stamparatus, but I'm just going to go ahead and like live on the edge and just use the big block and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I won't get any line marks from the inking. We shall see though. So I'm just gently tapping that Secret C pad on the stamp, and this is on our largest photopolymer block, our largest clear block, I should say, not photopolymer. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball that, stamp it down, give it a good press. I wobbled it, so we'll see if we got any line marks. Not too bad. I don't see any, so that's pretty good. I thought for sure I kind of like buggered that up a little bit. So I'm going to clean this off and I'm just going to use the chamois we use at class. So I know all of you are familiar with that. Set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some more grass on this front piece before I die cut it. And I'm just going to tap that on my Secret C. Kind of set that down towards the base of the cardstock and stamp that. All right, so we're going to die cut that, but while we're stamping, I'll go ahead and just do that all at the same time. Well, I need to stamp the sentiment, but I don't want to stamp my sentiment until I've die cut this. So I'm going to come back to that one, but I am going to go ahead and do some images with the cloud cover. So let me find my stamping paper. So I just want to get a piece of paper here in case I have any off stamping and I don't get it on my work surface. So I'm just going to take my Stampin' Spot that I made and I'm just going to take and ink my stamp this way. So just gently tapping it around. And I'm just going to stamp those little cattails on there for the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for the front of my envelope too. Okay. And stamp it down. So as you can see, it stamps really nicely. You get a beautiful color, and you don't have to worry about it not keeping its color tone. So I think you'll really enjoy the cloud cover ink and products. Okay, those aside. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, I need this one. So I'm going to take my designer series paper that I stamped on, and I'm going to place this, and grab a sticky note too. I'm going to place this kind of like where I want it on um, my designer series paper piece because it's going to cut that frame out so that I can elevate it to give my project a little bit different touch, different look, different feel, I should say. So I'm going to take and just put my sticky note right on there to hold that in place. And then I'm just going to run over to my cut and emboss machine real quick. So hang on. So just peel that sticky note off. I'm gonna pop this out. There we go. Okay, so now I've got my two pieces that I can create my frame with. Since I've die cut this now, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment up here. I didn't want to stamp that because I didn't want the sentiment to get cut off. Okay. And we're just going to go with sending the healing power of love because that can move mountains, I say. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this ink up. We'll be using that again, so I'll just leave it out here. And we're going to go ahead and put our project together. So this piece, I'm just going to go ahead and glue on my card front. And it is cut just a 1/4 inch around, so you'll have a nice frame around it. Okay, so I've got that down. Then I'm going to place some dimensionals on the back of this and pop it up. Now, because it's a large piece and I want to give it like a nice structure on the card, I don't want it to be like droopy. I'm going to put quite a few dimensionals on here to support the perimeter of this piece. Okay, and I'm even going to put one in the center as well. We also have the long strips, which is actually what I used on this card here. If you can see right there, see it's like a whole long dimensional, and then it's that way on the sides too. Those are actually the best ones I would recommend to use on a card like this because it's going to support the entire frame. I just used up what I have, so I need to order some more. So if you've got those, use those. They're great for like those dimensionals are great for shaker cards too. And then I'm just going to kind of hover over where my cutout is at. You can see that secret C behind and just put that in place. And it's good to go. Okay, let me put these out of the way. All right, so we're ready to then put our inside layer on there too. And keep in mind, these projects that I'm sharing with you every month with the In Color Club, you can take every project so that by the time we do, next month is our last month. So September's the last month. And we are doing, I think it's Timid Tiger. I think that's the next one. And so at the end of it, you're going to have a total of 10 different projects that you've got exclusively with this In Color club. And you can take those ideas and you could easily change this and make it with like Darling Duckling or your Timid Tiger next month, or you could use Strawberry Slush and the cloud cover. You can change it up, or you can use it with some of the colors, this card layout in our traditional line of colors that we carry consistently in our annual catalog. So don't feel like you're just locked into this color palette, how I've set it out. You can change it up. And actually, I encourage you to do that. I'd love to see what you do with it too. Okay, so this is our first project. And then that was, of course, our example. I'm going to set those aside up here and then bring out the next project that we're going to do. And that is this one. And we are using the Artistic Leaves stamp set. We're also going to grab some of our flat in color pearls. We're also using our cloud cover ribbon. So you'll need those because some of the supplies you're going to need to cut yourself. Also going to need some secret C here. So let me share with you what we've got. Okay, so first you're going to slash, you've got your white envelope. You're going to need to cut a piece of your cloud cover that's 5.5 by 8.5. Okay. You're also going to need to cut a piece of your secret C that is 3.5 by 5. Okay. You have a die cut piece already in there out of the basic white, and that will layer with your secret C piece that you cut. You will also have a piece of basic white in your kit that is 3.5 by 5. That is for the inside of your card. You will have two die cut labels that are from the Textured Notes dies. I used this smaller die to die cut those. Oh, and then this is the one that I used to die cut the layer that we're going to be stamping our leaves on. It has a little different texture on it too. That was already done for you. And then you're going to need a piece of your cloud cover ribbon that is about 6.5 inches long. You're going to want that to use on the front of your card. And then we're also going to use 3 of the flat pearl in color cloud cover gems. You could actually use the secret C ones if you wanted to too, so you can change that up if you'd like. Okay, so this is a photopolymer stamp set. And I'm going to bring in my foam mat, and you can see I've already been stamping on it with making the example. We're going to stamp on the foam mat because they're photopolymer stamps, so they need a little bit extra cushion. So we're going to start by folding our card base in half. Flatten that. Okay, we'll set that aside. Oh, I didn't show you the inside of this. So we've just got a little leaf on the inside there. And these labels are staggered and they are popped up with some dimensionals. So, all right, so we're going to do a little stamping. Let me bring my foam mat back in here. Let's get our die cut piece, bring that secret C out. We're going to use this cloud cover. And I'm going to start with the larger leaf, and I'm using the outline image in my secret C to kind of create that strong contrast there. So I'm just going to stamp this leaf a couple times. Okay. And then I'm going to do the smaller one and do that a couple times, just changing the position of the leaf. I'll just tuck that a little bit. I'm gonna put a little color there. Sometimes I like to fill in those little spaces. So, okay, that looks good. Let me leave there until I'm done because I think I'm going to be stamping on the envelope and stuff. So, all right, so we've done the secret C. Now we're going to come in with our cloud cover ink pad, our mini, and I'm just going to tap around this stamp, and this is going to fill in those white spots with the blue. Just gonna hover over top of that and stamp that down. And we'll ink it again. These little stamping spots are great. Like if you take your supplies and go scrapbooking and stamping, they're a little less bulky to carry than like the full-size ink pads. I have several different ladies that just love the spots, and that's what they do. They get the uninked spots and they get the re-inker and they just make their own. So this gives you an opportunity to try the product that way. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to use this little piece here, and this is just a little stamp, so I'll just tamp that around on that Stampin' Spot and ink that and do the same here. Okay. All right. So that piece is stamped. Now I want to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to use the Grateful for You. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Spot. I'm going to use the cloud cover to stamp that. And I'm going to just do it a little bit off to the side because I want to allow room for those two gems that I want to put on there. Stamp that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the little leaf on the inside of my card. So we'll do that. And I'll ink that little piece inside, and we'll do some cloud cover there. And then on the envelope, I think I'll put a bigger leaf. Got a little more real estate on the envelope, so we'll put a little bit bigger of a leaf there. And I'll come in with the cloud cover. Just tapping that all around. It's a light ink, so if you're using it on photopolymer, you're like, oh, you know what, it's not inking it, but it is. It's just the polymer and the later inks. Sometimes you can't quite see it, I think, but you can see the really pretty contrast there with that light blue. Okay, I'm going to shut these ink pads and my spots. And I still got to clean off those stamps, so we'll just push them up so they are out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble my card. And I know you're probably like, Christina, you're not going to cut anything out of this layer. Like, we're just going to layer right over it. And I'm like, I know, right? Like, yeah, that is shocking, right? But yes, we are just going to layer over top of it. I had originally thought like, oh, I should just die cut the label out of that to get the contrast color, but I really liked the cloud cover more than I liked the secret seed. Not that they wouldn't work equally well, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to fasten my ribbon around, and I always like to just do masking tape and fasten it in place. You can do whatever you would like, whatever works best for you. I'm just going to bring it around here. Take that. There we go. And I need to offset this a little bit. So I'm just going to put some adhesive just down here in this lower portion, like the lower right-hand side of that cloud cover one. And I'm going to lay my stamp label on there. Okay. And oh, there's my card base. I was like, what did you do with my card base? Put this layer on the inside. Okay. And then I'm gonna use my seal. Every time I put ribbon around it, I always want to use my seal. I don't know, I just find that for me, I like that hold because it's just that extra bulk with the ribbon on there. I'm sure the Tombow would work very well. Okay, then we're gonna put some dimensionals on the back of this one. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna do a little mini one right there. So when you're placing the dimensionals on and you're putting this, so you're going to put on your project, you kind of want to place it so it's not sitting on this ribbon. So kind of adjust it a bit because those dimensionals need to be strategically placed. So make sure you put some at the top and at the bottom. I'm going to figure out how I want to do this. There we go. So we're making contact with everything. It's not just sitting on the ribbon and then it's going to like float around. Hopefully that makes sense, what I'm saying. All right, let's get some dimensionals here. Or not dimensionals. Ah! In color, flat pearls. Oh my goodness. Words are hard today. Thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take a big one and put that there. And I think I'll take one of the little ones. I put the medium one on this one when I made it. And I'll use one of the medium-sized ones and put it over there. I'm like trying to think. Let me think where I want to put this. I think I want to put it right there. A little bit of color there on that white. All right, so there is our second project. So let me shimmy all this stuff out of the way over here. We've got this project with this stamp set, and we've got this project with this stamp set. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed these two projects. They have a little bit of a fall feel to them, but the blue kind of makes it like, I mean, we've got a little bit of a chill in our weather this week. So fall is definitely around the corner. But it's just a creative way to use your colors. And I mean, who says leaves can't be blue? You know, it's stamping. We can create whatever color we want. So I hope you've enjoyed these projects. If you use any of the templates that I've shared with you in the in color videos, please share your ideas with me. I would love to see what you've done and how you've changed it up just based on, the design that I shared with you. So, as always, I appreciate you tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the projects. Thank you for being part of the In Color Club, and I hope you have a beautiful day. So, until next time, happy stamping.